This is why I think that Alex Jones as a press secretary isn't just a meme, but it's something that journalists absolutely deserve. Because nothing would be more disrespectful and delegitimizing for the corporate press. Not the journalists as a whole, but the corporate press. If you actually make them interact with Alex Jones every single time they go to talk about the White House. One of their main talking points is that private citizens should be censored. Like, this is what they're actually saying right now. They're not even implying it. Basically, trying to suggest that public citizens should be censored so that the Democrats can keep winning elections. Because if you don't censor the public, then Republicans win. So this is why Republicans have to double down, and they will be like, oh, you think we're doing misinformation? Here's an Alex Jones to talk to. Enjoy. But the thing that really annoys me is the way they conclude that right-wingers are doing misinformation. So right now, this statistic published by Reuters is very popular, and many right-wingers are basically saying, well, I've never been asked to answer a question like this. And also, none of my friends have been asked. Like, who are they asking? Because it's important, if you're trying to poll a group of people, and you're doing the survey on Reddit, you're going to get vastly different results than if you do the survey on 4chan, even if it's the same questions. So, how exactly are they doing this survey? Who are they questioning? And secondly, it's the way the questions are framed that it's not like it's misleading or anything like that, but you kind of predict you're going to get the wrong answers from people anyway. So, for instance, here's an example, right? Violent crime rates are at a near all-time high in most major American cities. Now, when you frame it like this in common speech, most people will understand the question as, is crime higher than it's supposed to be? And how bad is it? So I imagine being stopped on the street and being asked this question. Most people aren't going to think, oh, I need to give 100% true answer because I'm going to be held accountable for what I say. They're going to talk to you as if you're engaging in a normal conversation, and they're probably going to interpret the question as, is crime higher than it's supposed to be, and how bad is it? And when you look at convenience stores that are being held under lock and key, when you're looking at CNN running an interview inside the store, and as they're running the interview, they manage to accidentally catch 3 people that were in there to steal, then yeah, you can conclude that crime is pretty high. I don't know if it's at all-time high, if it's higher than it has ever been. Like maybe in 1750, there was more crime. Maybe 40 years ago, crime was higher than it is now. Sure, maybe during the Prohibition era, there were a lot more criminals than there are now. So it's not at an all-time high. But what people are complaining about is the fact that it's at unacceptable levels and it shouldn't be this high. And by the way, apparently the crime statistics were also massaged, like they cooked the books. This is something that was done with the current administration quite often. Like they would cook the books and then the press articles would come up. And after like a couple of months or sometimes even a year, they would uncook the books. And it's like, oh, look, the FBI just stopped reporting on some crime statistics. Oh, it turns out they're a little bit higher than we announced. Right? So the second thing is that if you ask the Democrats, is America systemically racist? They will say yes. Is police violence towards black people at an all-time high? They will say yes. Like if you're asking them, is America a rape culture? They would say yes. So for some reason, like their conspiracy theories are fine, including, stuff that was debunked so many times with Trump saying find people on both sides. Like that's fine as well. No. The problem is the conspiracy theories from the right-wingers. In other words, what they want to do is what they've been doing up until now. The conspiracy theories from the left don't get suppressed. They get promoted on mainstream media. But anything that right-wingers say, if you don't frame it exactly the way you're supposed to frame it, then it should be censored. So, like, for instance, if you have a village and a guy comes screaming from the forest saying that there's a Bengal tiger in the forest and that people should be careful, He should be arrested and imprisoned because there is no Bengal tiger in the forest. There's a Siberian tiger. And he was spreading dangerous and harmful misinformation. And at the end of the day, you know, like, people do not care about the breed of the tiger, but there is a tiger in the forest. However, the authorities, like, oh, we don't want misinformation to be spread, and look, you got the race of the tiger wrong, so fact checkers. Look at the other questions as well. Like, inflation in the US has declined over the last year, and it's near historic averages. It's like, okay, but what about 2 or 3 years ago? Like, people are still impacted by the inflation. Just because it has declined last year doesn't mean that there wasn't inflation, and people are still being hurt by it. The US stock market is at or near all-time highs. Well, again, if you adjust it for inflation, it probably wouldn't be. And most people don't even understand this. Like, if you stop them on the street and you're asking them, like, random questions, they probably don't get it. It's like, oh, the stock market, so like the economy. The reality is that all of the things that are happening in America are beneficial for the wealthy. That's why they're doing it. It's not like the wealthy are fucking themselves. It's like, no, the mentality is like in California. They pump the wealth. Like, they pump the wealth, but there is high economic disparity in the people that benefit from pumping that wealth. So, like, if you look at California, yeah, like, the CEOs and the rich, they live in their gated communities and amazing neighborhoods with no crime. They don't benefit from the diversity as much. Meanwhile, the rest of the people, oh, you have a huge homeless population, you have a drug epidemic, they have to deal with the crime, right? So, like, if you ask the average person, it's like, how is the economy? They're going to say shit because that's their lived experience. When in reality, no, like, California is a very rich state. It's just that none of that wealth actually trickles down. Over the last few months, unauthorized border crossings at the US-Mexico border is the lowest level. Again, right, like, over the last few months before an election, right? When people are going, maybe I should wait to see if the guy who wants to deport everyone gets elected or not. So, like, all these questions are framed in such a way to kind of get the answers you're hoping for so that they can write articles and say, oh, look, it's because of the disinformation that Republicans are winning elections. And if we just have more censorship, if we have more fact checkers, then none of this would happen. Meanwhile, the left is allowed to spread misinformation as much as they want, and you won't see Reuters writing an article about it. You won't see Reuters calling out their colleagues at Teen Vogue ever. Like, here you have Teen Vogue magazine saying indigenous youth are devastated, but survival and resistance is the legacy they can rely on. So they're devastated because Trump won the election, right? And when you look at the statistics, you see that indigenous people have voted overwhelmingly right-wing. Like, they voted for Trump even more than white people did. So how are they devastated if their guy won? Why are they devastated? But it creates the illusion, it creates the misinformation that, yeah, American Indians are all Democrats, because, like, the Democrats have dominion over minorities. Like, every single minority automatically loves the Democrat. That's what they're trying to create. They're trying to create this division. It's not American citizens. It's actually various factions that have their basis on arbitrary characteristics, and they're competing with each other. So, like, there's no way that American Indians would vote for Trump. When, in reality, you look at the statistics, 65%. Now, maybe, you know, the youth is this 34. Like, sure, but that can also suggest that eventually they grow out of it. Like they were misinformed because they're young, and as they're growing older and they're getting jobs and shit, they become right-wing. Like, this article is misleading on purpose, and it's not being called out by Reuters. So the only thing that you need to do to this type of rhetoric is to put Alex Jones as the press secretary. I don't see any other solution. They covet the Alex Jones. They crave it. In order to completely delegitimize their talking point and make it look ridiculous. If anything, Alex Jones, when they're coming and they're like conspiracy theories, misinformation, should play them that famous song with okay, Boomer, whatever you say, Boomer, okay, Boomer. You know, like, really, like, there's no debate or discussion to be had when people are being this disingenuous. The only thing you can do is laugh at them. Let me know what you guys think, though, and as usual, I will see you in the comment section. Take care.